Well, this is just coming from the Ministry of Home Affairs that new guidelines to fight COVID-19 will come to effect from 4th of May. And this is the operative part that goes on to say that it shall give considerable relaxations to many districts. Details regarding this shall be communicated in the days to come. And there are hardly any days left. It's 29th of April. The current lockdown 2.0, comes to an end on 3rd of May. Ayushman's joining us. Ayushman, a clear indication that it won't be a complete blanket extension, that there will be quite a bit of relaxation for at least many districts.
At least it prima facie looks like that only, Tanvi, because it is anticipated that this lockdown may be extended, and what we are seeing, the indication from Punjab, one can expect that. But what MHA has tweeted that clearly says that in the green zones, we have seen the number of green zone increasing, and also the non-hotspot category districts are also increasing. So for that, we are being told that MHA will be releasing the guidelines. Till then, till that point of time, till 3rd May, the existing guidelines need to be obeyed, and for those relaxations, separate guidelines will be issued from the MHA side.
Yes, absolutely. Ayushman, stay on with me while this is an important story that you're tracking. There is lots more that is developing right now in the, as we count down to end of this lockdown and life post May 3rd. Lots of activities and developments taking place. Some more news coming in. Well, the Airport Authority of India has also laid down guidelines for when the airports will begin to operate. So without really giving a date for when the airports will begin operations, there have been a certain set of guidelines that have been defined of how it will happen gradually, how will the airports begin to open up, and what would be the strength of operation. Ayushman continues to stay with me. Ayushman, take us through those details.
Tanvi, almost more than 100 airports come under the purview of Airport Authority of India, and we have seen the major airports. There has been a graded response in guidelines had been issued for Delhi and Mumbai and other cities as well. So, the AAI has also come out with the guidelines in which it has been said that somewhere the graded response will also be implemented there. Around 30% of the staff will be coming, and what we see, the social distancing norm has to be followed there, and for flights which are coming from the COVID hotspots, there will be a separate arrangement for that. For now, the beverages shops and all which are to be opened there, that will be happening at a very small rate. And if an airport has got many terminals in it, only one terminal will be operating. The social distancing norm, the screening process, all have to be implemented. This has been given in the guideline that has been released by the Airport Authority of India for the over 100 airports. This is in an indication that we may see some kind of activity at the airports post May 3rd.
Yes, and of course, important to point out that some of the big city airports do not come under the Airport Authority of India. These guidelines are for those airports, like Ayushman was pointing out, that come under AAI, and for them, these will be the rules to begin with, and we'll see then how things pan out. Ayushman, thanks so much for bringing us both of those stories. Moving on, as healthcare workers and police officials race against time to contain coronavirus and battle this infection spread, unfortunately, there are still instances of attacks emerging from various parts of the country where our frontline warriors are being targeted. Cops on duty were targeted in the state of Gujarat and in West Bengal. Meanwhile, healthcare workers were manhandled in Uttarakhand. So let's begin with the details of what happened in Surat, and those visuals itself, actually, viewers, will tell you the story. Hundreds of migrant workers vandalized the office of an under construction building and some vehicles in Gujarat's Surat. The violence started when the workers learned that their contractors had brought in more laborers from the other parts of Gujarat to speed up the construction work. They then got really angry and demanded that they be sent home, and that's what really triggered this violence. There was stone pelting that also reportedly took place. Disha, in fact, has the details. Disha, take us through what happened here, the sequence of events.
Well, Tanvi, here we are talking about two separate incidents taking place in the last 24 hours in Surat district of Gujarat at two separate timing. First, of course, we would focus about how there were about 4,000 migrant workers who vandalized the office of the under construction building. In fact, there were cars also parked outside the building that were also, the glasses were broken, and only because what the police says that these workers thought that the new set of workers that the builder had really brought in, they were brought from somewhere else, I mean out of Gujarat, and if the Gujarat government has got permission to actually bring in laborers from outside Gujarat, then why the people who are staying in Gujarat, they cannot be sent back to their native place? Because remember, Tanvi, the migrant workers' demand have been pretty much simple since the day one. They want to go back. So obviously the crowd here was agitated is what the police say, and there were approximately 4,000 migrant workers and laborers. They started vandalizing the offices, the administrative place, also the cars. It took almost 2 to 3 hours for the police to bring the entire situation under control, and as we speak the FIR is under process is what we understand. So this is the first incident. The second incident happened about 10 to 15 kilometers away from this first incident spot. It happened in an area which is known as one of the hotspot area in Surat, where stones were pelted at policemen, where they were actually asking people to stay indoors for their good, for their safety. So one of the policemen was also injured in this entire incident. He is admitted in the nearest hospital for further treatment, and 5 people have been arrested in this entire matter.
All right, Disha, thanks so much for bringing us that update from Surat on the story. Two different stories that Disha was pointing out took place within a span of 24 hours. Now, viewers, let's move on and bring you an update from West Bengal. If you remember, yesterday here on the Urban Debate, we got you the story of the violence that unfolded in Howrah, which is actually a red zone, but things became a little out of control and the rapid action force had to be deployed there. We're given to understand today 10 people were arrested, post that violence. Shreyasi, in fact, is joining me with the latest. Shreyasi, take us through what had really happened last evening and then what's been the action that was taken today.
Well, Tanvi, as far as how this entire violence broke out, the authorities have not clearly stated the reason. But of course, reports suggest that when the Howrah City Police reached the spot to implement the lockdown orders, because some of them were not wearing masks, which is now compulsory here in the state as well, a scuffle broke out between the police authorities and the locals, and that quickly evolved into the violent clashes that took place, and the visuals that came in from Howrah were absolutely shocking, where COVID warriors, frontline policemen on duty were attacked by a mob of people in Tikiapara, which is in Howrah, and as you mentioned, a red zone here in West Bengal. Right after that, today, 24 hours later, of course, police has filed 3 FIRs in this particular violence. 10 people have been arrested. They have been booked under 11 sections of the IPC. A few of them, of course, non-bailable. They've also been booked under the Disaster Management Act of 2005, West Bengal Maintenance of Public Order Act 1972, and additionally also been booked under Prevention of Damage to Public Property Act 1984. They have been sent to 14 days police custody. Their interrogation will continue, and the identification of furthermore people who violated those lockdown orders and attacked the cops are being identified by police from the videos that they have been scrutinizing, and the raids will also continue in that particular area. This morning, Tanvi, the police, along with Rapid Action Force of the West Bengal Police, conducted a flag march in that particular route for area domination, giving out a stern warning that people who break the law, stern action will be taken against them, and this case is still under further investigation.
All right, Tracy, thanks so much for getting us that update. And on the similar lines came an instance from Uttarakhand, where a medical team was actually manhandled while they were carrying out a survey regarding coronavirus suspects and patients. Now, they were collecting data of families, where in one instance, one of the residents of the Makhanpur village in Haridwar actually lost his school, tore off the register, and that's where things began to get ugly. Reportedly, some people were also injured in this incident. Let's move on and put the spotlight on migrant laborers and daily wage workers now. Now, as you know, viewers, just a short time ago, the central government has issued a circular now giving details on movements of migrant laborers, students, and others who may be stranded in different states away from their home. But unfortunately, this has come, after several days of pain and struggle and suffering for some of these daily wage workers. Now, here is a story that's actually coming from Hyderabad, where hundreds of migrant workers who were deployed at a construction site in IIT Hyderabad took to the streets. They were protesting because they said they were not being given enough food, and even basic facilities were not available. In anger, as they protested, they also resorted to vandalizing police patrol vehicles. In fact, we're given to understand that as stone pelting took place, a sub-inspector was also injured. Paul is joining me with more details. Paul, of course, after days of staying in and struggling for lack of food and facilities, we've seen this protest unfold today.
That's right, Tanvi. They're all part of a construction company. They have been staying in Sangareddy district. They were at a construction site inside IIT Hyderabad campus. And for several days, almost more than a month now, they have been inside there. Their complaint was that they're not being allowed to head back home. Also, another complaint was that they're not being provided with food, basic facilities, and the fact that they haven't been paid their wages for the last 2 months. Finally, it was infuriation, people being really infuriated that we saw. They took to the streets. In fact, they pelted stones at the police personnel who tried to have a dialogue with them. They also vandalized one police patrol car. One sub-inspector was injured in the melee that took place. And what followed was finally the top cops had to come to the location. The collector spoke to them, the DSP spoke to them, and MLA Jagga Reddy also happened to speak to them. And after a meeting was carried out wherein the leaders spoke to them, it was decided that tomorrow itself, they will ensure that the 2 months' wages would be cleared, that they would be given food and basic facilities. There is no question of sending back home was what they decided in the evening. But however, the MHA order regarding migrant labor moving from one state to the other comes as a beacon of hope for them, because they would now be allowed to head back home. What they've been saying is, we have no work, we are stranded here, at least it's better to go back to our states where we can fend for ourselves. So we're sure this new order that has come in would be a beacon of hope for them. It comes in as glad news because at least they can go back to their families where they can fend for themselves.
Yes, absolutely. Paul, thanks so much for bringing us that update. Well, the world of cinema suffered a major loss and setback today, and not just for our country, not just for India, but across internationally speaking, as we got the news of Irrfan Khan passing away after a two-year-long battle with cancer. And recently he was admitted to a hospital in Mumbai for a colon infection. Irrfan Khan was today buried here in Mumbai with close friends and relatives in attendance. Obviously a huge loss, and tributes poured in from across the world, and India itself was in a state of mourning. He was India's face for the West as well, for international films as well, and gave us some magnificent performances in movies like Slumdog Millionaire, Life of Pi, Piku, and of course a favorite for most people, the movie Maqbool. Let's bring you some reactions that came about after this news broke.
I am completely shattered and deeply saddened to know about the passing away of a very, very dear friend and colleague and drama school junior, Irrfan Khan. It's not only the loss of the Hindi film industry, or it's a loss of the country and international entertainment world. He was an amazing actor, that goes without saying, but he was a wonderful human being also, very straightforward, with a great sense of humor, compassionate. It's so frightening and awful to talk about him in past tense. It's I don't know. I feel that it's too soon. It's too soon. 53 is no age. In fact, in today's time, no age is. We are already struggling with this pandemic, and we are trying to hold back our depression, our sadness. We are struggling, and then for this news to come is very, very sad, very sad. My heart goes out to his wife and his child, and it will take us many, many years to register that he's not among us. It will take us many, many moments of some kind of... I just want to pray for his departed soul. I just feel it's sometimes the words are so insufficient to express shock and grief. And I will miss him, the world will miss him, and my Om Shanti, and may God rest his soul in peace.
Earlier in the day, we also spoke with Javed Akhtar, who recounted some of his best memories with Irrfan Khan.
In this case, you were so right when you used this word, is unfortunate, because it is really very, very unfortunate. There was a man who struggled in film industry for a very long time, and ultimately he conquered what he wanted to. And with the Hindi medium, he became a star with tremendous charisma and following. This was the time to live. This was the time to achieve. This was the time to open new horizons, because he was going from power to power. And what a pity that this disease has shortened a magnificent career. There was so much he could do, and there was so much left within him, which could not get exposure because of it. It is really, whenever somebody dies, we say it's a very untimely death. But in Irrfan's case, it is really a very, very unfortunate and untimely death.
Absolutely, and Javed-ji, this is something that probably every single person in Bollywood would know. The kind of actor that Irrfan Khan was, the finesse with which he performed every role, whether it's comedy, it's tragedy, it's action. He was known to be an actor who could literally play every single role with so much finesse, and something that every single person in Bollywood can learn from him.
And Irrfan, as an actor, was a voice, not anybody's echo. You see, he was totally original. His concept of timing, his delivery, his stresses, they were very much his own. And not every day you get an actor who is so very original.
Absolutely. Javed-ji, can you share with us any of your interactions that you may have had with Irrfan Khan?
Was in London at a common friend's place, and he told me that he has recovered. Perhaps it will take him 2 months to get back to India. And he said, and his wife was also with him, and we had a wonderful evening. And he was in great spirits and jokes and poetry and anecdotes and whatnot. And then he said that he'll come back and we'll have another great evening in Bombay, which never happened. That evening never came. But that's how it is. Before that, he had come once to me, and we were toying with an idea to do a film with that, and he felt sick, so it remained there. Anyway, now it's all history, and we'll always remember him. Irrfan was a unique actor, there is no doubt about it.
An actor par excellence, a great human being who's truly left an impression on lakhs of people across the world. Irrfan Khan will truly be missed. Well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of The Urban Debate. Thank you for joining us.